fish right there. Hey, what's up anglers? This is Pat Ogletree, one of the fishing coaches here at Salt Strong, and in this video I had one of those trips, and I think we've all had them before, where no matter what we tried to do, we just couldn't get going. This was one of those trips for me where as soon as I got on the water, there was so much fog out there, I wasn't safe, I had to wait to get out on the water, and then after I got on the water, I wound up missing some equipment. I left it back out of the truck, I had to turn back around, and it just wound up being a disaster of a morning. But what turned out to be a slow morning ended up into a fast finish. So check out the video. So as you can tell, it was really foggy this morning, and I was already up against a window because of the wind. It was supposed to be blowing over 20 miles an hour in the next 2.5 hours, so I needed to get on some fish pretty quickly. But what happened was when I got out on the water, I realized I forgot my jig head box, and that means I only had one hook on the kayak. So at this point, I decided I had to turn around and go back to the truck, even though it was going to cost me some time on the water, because there's no way I was going to be able to finish this whole day with just one hook. So it put me a little bit further behind in time than I even had previously thought I was going to be. So after I got that sorted out, I'd been fishing for about an hour or so, and I wasn't having any luck, so I decided to pivot and make a change. Now, for any of you that have been following me for a little while, you know that I really love throwing paddle tails, but I decided to switch it up and try the mirror lure Little John and to see if we can get a reaction bite out of these fish. Now, normally you want to put these on a jig head. I didn't have any jig heads that would work because of the oysters that were in the area, so I decided to put on a Haas Helix hook, and of course I'm going to put a little Dr. Juice on there. Now, because of the overcast skies and that murky water and the lighter color of the lure that I had, I decided I was going to go ahead and dip the tail in some dye so I could get that chartreuse color to make it stand out a little bit better. This is a nice fish. Hit it hard. Seeing dust-offs, blow-offs. I was over there fishing these oyster beds, and I kept on looking over here and just seeing all kinds of blow-offs and explosions out here. And I figured there'd be some fish. That's got to be a big redfish. Yeah, nice red, nice red. We had something looks like maybe coming with it. Go. Very, very nice. Nice fish right there. Nice upper slot. Got that on the mirror lure Little John, rigged on the Haas Helix, 1/8 ounce. Now, typically you want to rig these on a jig head, but the problem I'm having is there's so much oysters around here that I just can't work it with a jig head. But it's not doing too bad with the Haas Helix. That's it right there. Didn't even have time to start my camera up. I made another cast out here, and sure enough, got me another red. Assuming it's a red, feels like a red. But yeah, I mean, all these fish, they're out here in this, where all this mullet is. Some nice fish here. Turn around. Wow, this one might be a little bit bigger. There we go, that's it right there on the mirror lure Little John. Again, Haas Helix hook. That is deep down inside there. He's gone. In this video, I wanted to show you real quick how I was working that lure. So I was keeping the rod tip low and parallel to the water, that way the wind wouldn't catch the line. And then I was just giving it a series of little quick twitches and jerks, sometimes once, twice, maybe 3 times. And the reel was almost in a constant motion to keep that slack out of that line. Now this way, it was causing that lure to zigzag back and forth, almost like you would a top water walking lure, like a walk the dog lure, but it was doing it subsurface. I hit that one literally on the head. I closed the bail and he was already on. You gotta be kidding me. Man, they are thick in here. Must have a school or something out here, to be honest with you. I make sure, and I remember to cast it right about where the edge of that guardrail is. So I'm going to keep on working that area and keep throwing around in there. But man, this is pretty cool. Won't hear me complaining about this. So as you can tell, I actually wind up getting onto some fish, even though it took me a little bit to figure it out. The current trends that I had been experiencing since I've been in this area really weren't working, so I had to pivot. So one of the pivots was, changing up the lure, like I said in the video, but there were some other things that I had to do to get on these fish. So by the time you see this video, I've actually posted a full report in our insider community, and what these full reports are is not only is it the fish catching action that you see here, it's also the satellite images of where I was fishing, and I break down that spot, show you where the fish were caught, what the thought processes were of why those fish were there, along with so much more. With this information, you can actually dial in your fishing a lot better. Now, if you're not catching the quantity or the quality of the fish that you think you should, it's probably because you're not fishing in the 90-10 zone. Now, if you're not familiar with what the 90-10 zone is, it's the fact that 90% of the feeding fish are only in 10% of the water. So you need to be able to find where that 90-10 zone is. I invite you to join us in the insider community where we can teach you to become a better angler. So check us out at saltstrong.com. And for a quick hack on how to find the 90-10 zone in your area quicker, click on the link down below.